Hey there, friends. This is Bill MacDonald, the Common Sense Math Doctor. I wanted to work with you on probably what was the most difficult math question in terms of grade level appropriate. And it was a fourth grade question from this past year. And all I want to do is help you see a way to show your kids how to solve a problem. Sometimes there's so much information on a problem that it becomes a problem. And I say that the only problem with word problems are the words in the problems. There are just so many, they turn them into a paragraph and it becomes just a bunch of mumbo jumbo to your students sometimes. And so I think we need to remember this, that life happens at full speed, but reading and writing happen in slow motion. And whenever you have a math problem that has 4 or 5 sentences, we're going to have to slow the math problem down, detail by detail, what I call with candy, dum dum by dum dum, and sentence by sentence, smarty by smarty. So, what I'd like to do is just kind of show you two possible ways. One of them is going to be sort of like thinking of a ladder or a comic strip where it has a sequence of events based on the order that things are told to us in a problem. And sometimes there's a saying that says, a picture paints 1,000 words. Well, to your students, sometimes a math problem looks like 1,000 words. And so what we're going to have to do is turn it into a picture or two, three, or four pictures, depending on how many steps the problem has. So, what I'd like you to do is nothing but share this video with your math teacher friends who have kids who struggle with either two-step problems or multiplication, division, or any combination of those three, because this problem needed 2 steps to solve it, and the other issue was that it was an open-ended, so your students didn't have any way of testing the multiple choice. And so the other issue is that we live in an open-ended world until we get into classrooms where they become multiple choice. And so what I'd recommend that you do is start covering up the answers more so that your kids can't even see them and get distracted by some of those answer choices until they've read through the entire problem and the question. Sometimes you can get away with reading the problem first, and other times it's better to read the question first. And so sometimes your students are going to have to decide which one is better. Let's take a look at the problem that I'm talking about so that I can show you a way. Go ahead and take notes. I can't really send copies uh, as a parent. I'm allowed to get into the parent portal and help my students called my children, or as a tutor, I try to help the children of parents in different grade levels with reading and math and writing, and so it just happens I want to be able to help you guys for free so that you can maybe try one or more of these strategies with your students to see if it helps them, because it was a pretty massive problem in my opinion for fourth grade. Only, let me see to it so I don't lie to you, 18% of the students in Texas in fourth grade got this question correct. So, typically speaking, since there's only four answers, just by guessing, you have a 25% chance of getting the answer right. Now, because there was no answer there, That's what made it harder. It was open ended. And so typically the numbers can get pretty low with open ended. I think that's one of the reasons why the state's going to 25% open ended, short answer, extended answer, and essay responses. And you can just tell from all of the math responses that require a grid that students are really struggling and we have to do something about it. So I'll take you all the way through the problem. And so I really suggest that if you teach higher than fifth grade, higher than fourth grade, excuse me, go ahead and as soon as this test is released, make a copy of this test because all of the difficult fourth grade questions that were taken in May are going to be difficult by fifth graders to, when they come in August. So I think that every fifth grader should take the fourth grade tests with guidance from their teacher because you want to actually teach them. Don't just give them a test because assigning a test is not modeling or mentoring. What we want to do is guide them, and then you do some extended practice doing problems similar to the one that we're going to go over. So I'm going to click on share screen on the word advanced in Zoom, content from a second camera, and share. And so my face goes in the corner there. And as you can see, this was number 15 of the fourth grade 2021. And I call it math surgery because apparently whatever we did wasn't enough. And as you can see, there's no multiple choice answers. It was a reporting category 2, student expectation 4.4H, solve with fluency 1 and 2-step problems involving multiplication and division, including interpreting remainders. We didn't have a remainder for this problem, but the students are going to have to realize that with what the problem is telling us, we're going to have to do multiplication and division, in fact, in that order, and it was 2-step problems. So let's pretend like your kids struggle with reading. The easiest way is just to get them going down the right track. So I'm going to use my um, mouse. I'm thinking I can show you here. Well, I'll just use my finger. All right. 12 packages of erasers. A package is not the same as an eraser, so as far our keywords are different. Each package, in other words, one of those packages has 12. Sorry, another one of those packages has 43 erasers. The next package has 43. The next package has 43. Every single one has 43 erasers. And they're going to take the erasers 6 at a time from all of these 12 packages and put them into each bag. So the question says, what is the greatest number of bags? So since 43 erasers and 12 packages, 6 erasers, each bag, our keywords are erasers, packages, and bags. Our keywords are different, so we can only multiply and or divide in this problem, and that will be the first thing for your kids to think about. Now, what I suggest you do is either A, make a little cartoon strip where you just tell the things one by one. You can fold any piece of paper or you can do it like I have here, a ladder. And all I've written out is every single step of what they've told me in the order that they told me so I can figure out and process. And what I'm saying is, since kids, life happens at full speed and reading and writing happen in slow motion, it happens in slow motion in math too. So the first thing they said was that there was this girl named Meredith. The second thing was that she had 12 packages of erasers. So I drew a little package, little box with the word erasers inside. The third thing they said was each package, each meaning one, package has 43 erasers inside. And so most of you use the GET acronym, that how many groups do you have? 12 of them times the number in each group gives you your total, or you have 43 in each package times 12 groups gives you your total. That way you can remember that you can get the same product multiplying both ways. And so product is times, multiply, product. And so what I've done is do the multiplication step 5 two times both ways to make sure that I get the same total. And so a lot of your students might have stopped right there. But if you look at the question, does the question say how many erasers do we have altogether? What is the greatest number of bags that Meredith could put the erasers into? So as soon as you see that you're putting something into something, that means you're separating them. And so before I'm able to find out how many bags I need, I've got to find out how many erasers there are to put them in bags in groups of 6. So I have to understand two different ways. And so if you look at Meredith, I got to fix her here. I forgot that she's a girl, and just showing you that your kids don't have to be artists. And so it said that she's going to be placing 6 erasers into each bag. So what you can do is draw a picture with arrows from those total erasers: one, two, three, four, five, 6 at a time. She's going to be taking them and putting them in 2 bags. Okay? So the 2 formulas are your total divided by your groups is how many are in each bag. But they already told us how many are in each bag: 6. So you have to also show your kids the other way is your total divided by how many are in each bag. You'll get how many groups, which is what they were asking. How many groups? How many bags? Because we already know that there's going to be 6 erasers in every single one of these groups, in every single one of these bags. So we had to multiply first, and then we're going to divide this dividend, 516, divided by the number that they said, and they said that they were going to be placing, as you can see from the picture, 6 erasers into each bag. Where does it say that? Right there, remember, 6 erasers into each bag. So I drew a picture of her with one hand grabbing 6 erasers and with arrows pointing to her and coming out of her going towards the bag. And so that's this second formula here. And so another thing, like I said, if a picture paints 1,000 words, well, I've got to, in math, make 1,000 words paint a picture. Or since I already did the picture, now I can work it out. And so remember that we had 516 total erasers, dividend, divided by the divisor, 6 erasers per bag, 516 total erasers. And they said, what's the most number of bags that you can use? Well, you're going to keep going until you run out of erasers by sixes. Okay? So, since many kids struggle with division, I want to show you a little acronym. My mom, Ma, apostrophe S, is red because I fail division every time. So let me show you what this stands for. And this is just a way that you can teach your kids that you're going to multiply something by the 6 until you get to a certain number higher. And so what are we trying to get first? We're trying to get to 5, but since the first number we multiply is already higher than 5, we know that we don't need to put anything in that first one. So we're going to underline 2 digits. That means we're going to multiply by sixes until we get an answer that is 51 or higher. Notice that I said 51 or higher. So what you multiply, you put on the top. Your answer, you put on the bottom. 6 times 1, 6. I didn't get to 51 or higher. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. We're gonna need this later, but we're trying to get to 51 or higher. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48. And 6 times 9 is 54. And the reason that we go as far as we can, we want to make sure that we use the highest number that we can, the highest product that doesn't pass 51. So here's the cool thing about this strategy. What you multiply goes on the top and its answer goes on the bottom. So the 8 goes on the top, 8, and the answer, the 48, goes on the bottom. Then you can subtract. Notice that we have 2 check marks. That means I had to go through this multiply, put your answer, subtract, get your RE, which stands for your remainder, and then you'll drop and go back to the top, or you'll be done. So let's see what happens here. Our S was subtract, so 51 minus 48, or subtract 48 from 51, you get 3, 48, 49, 50, 51. You can count, excuse me, up. So my remainder, RE, is 3, and then we either drop and go back to the top, or we're done. Since we had to drop something, we're going to have to go back to the top, and now we're going to have to multiply something, and a lot of kids will put an X right there, something else, so that we can get to 36 or higher. So since we've already gone through the steps, there's our second digit, and if I try to go past it, we know that we have to go to the number only. So since we would pass it by multiplying by 7, since 6 is on the top, that's what we multiply, 6, and our answer goes on the bottom. Then we go through the steps subtraction, 36 minus 36, 0 is my remainder, and I'm either going to drop or I'm going to be done. And I'm done. So the question said, what is the greatest number of bags? So there we go. 86 is my number of bags. 516 was my total erasers. And erasers inside each bag was 6. So what your kids are probably going to have to do is practice writing out the hundreds, the tens, the ones, and then the decimal place to remember that that's always going to be there. So there's an 8 in the tens place for our quotient, a 6 in the ones, and so the answer would be 86 bags would be the most that I would need because I would then run out of erasers. So your kids could say 86 and leave it, or 86 and nothing else, because we know that this is tenths. We'll actually write that there so that 86 and 0 tenths, or 86 and nothing else. So my answer is 86, and my keyword is 86 bags. So there you have it. I hope that that kind of gave you some things to think about. As you can see, 2-digit quotients can be hard for kids, and that was probably where the other half of the kids went wrong, because it's very hard to figure out where to place the numbers when you're multiplying and finding answers and multiplying and finding answers. So try that Moss Red strategy. Go ahead and share this video with your teacher friends. Remember that all you can do is kind of write out the problem. Unless you're a fourth grade parent and you can get your child's code for, that they will send to you, and use his or her birth date, and then you'll be able to look at the problem. But I kind of showed you the problem because of the fourth grade kids that I was trying to help. So it's just a free benefit. I just want to make sure you understand that um, I don't represent TEA in any way, shape, or form. They don't endorse the products or the materials or the strategies of any consultants or companies. Um, the test that it came from is a registered trademark of them. So that's why I can't really give you any copies. I can't try to sell you something. I just want to give you some strategies to help you and your colleagues, and of course your students in the future out when it comes to two-step problems with multiplication and division. Go ahead and do me a favor and click like on my YouTube page. Subscribe if you want, and maybe share that with one of your math teacher friends that you feel might have needed some help with this very difficult, rigorous problem. Goodbye from Bill MacDonald, and come on, Sense Math.